podcast. Thursday morning, sunny morning out here in New York, but yeah, freezing on the other side. I've got Emily with me now, who is having an amazing weather out there in Florida. I'm jealous about that borderline, but still it's okay. So, Emily, thank you for joining in for today's podcast. We appreciate it and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to our discussion this morning. And yes, the
Absolutely.
weather's quite nice here today.
I know that. I absolutely know that, right? So that's the reason I just wanted to sidetrack that, I started with that for 10 seconds and then I felt I'd actually end up being sad. So let's not
So
talk
let's
about
move on.
it. Let's not talk about it. Let's move on. Let's move with other chores in life, like taking a subway or wearing a coat. Let's talk about them. That'll make me feel happier. Quick introduction who Emily is. Emily is a credit union lifer. She's a credit union veteran in this industry for the last 25 years, 2.5 decades, right? For the lack of better words, she leads enterprise operations at Go Financial, one of the senior vice out there. Amazing personality. We met a month back and we just clicked. We loved her way of looking at the world. I loved her way of how she thinks the credit union movement has progressed and progressing, and hence we thought of doing a quick podcast and sharing our journey. So, Emily, firstly, thank you for doing this for us. Let's start the podcast with one question, right? Or rather, one excerpt. So, Emily, what has been your journey so far?
Sure. Yes. No, thank you for having me. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the discussion this morning. So, as you so kindly put, I have been at Grow for over 25 years. I don't know that I've thought about it as 2.5 decades, but it makes me feel like a lifetimer, I guess. I did start at Grow when we were McDill Credit Union. I started out in the marketing area. And while I was in marketing, I really enjoyed data and research. And that's kind of where my heart started to really click because I enjoyed understanding the member journeys and how our products were performing and that sort of thing. So that led me into our finance and analytics area. I stood up our analytics team around 2012, and that was pretty unique back then. We did have a few other credit unions that helped us along our journey, but we were able to stand that up. And then I moved into our digital realm. So when we converted our digital banking platform, I was able to help lead that project and then run that team for a while. I was really fortunate to, while I was on that team, to go through a program here at Grow. We're a big learning institution, and we had a strategic leadership program that gave some of our high level executives the opportunity to learn more across the organization instead of just within our areas. And once I graduated from that, I had the opportunity to step into this role as the Senior Vice President of Enterprise Operations. So it's really exciting. For me, that includes our contact center. So one of our main member facing channels,
Yeah.
payments, which I'm sure we'll get into more because that's one of my passions as well. And then all of our servicing areas. So it's a big realm, but it's fun because I can help members. I can find ways to reduce friction through process improvement and really thinking about and understanding what the members need.
By the way, that's something I didn't know that you had built the analytics team for Grow. I didn't know about this. It's a surprise to me. Interesting. And 2012 is very long ago, right? I mean, I was still in I think my college days, my undergrad days, and I wanted to do analytics after my engineering, right? And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I started doing analytics since 2015. Even
Oh, wow.
analytics was very new then, right? 2015, people were just talking about it. I mean, you've done it even before that. Kudos to you. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about priorities, right? So we are almost there. We are almost there.
Hmm.
Mid of December. If I were to
Yes.
ask you about your top priorities right now, and I mean, maybe top priorities for 2026, what would they be?
Sure. Yeah. So for the rest of this year, I mean, obviously we're getting close to the end of the year, but really just trying to set ourselves up for some big initiatives that we're going to be working on in 26. One of the pieces is we're going to be looking to replace our call center platform. So really being able to bring that up to a level with the new functionalities that exist. AI is going to be a big piece of that. So that's going to be a big lift for us as an organization, really thinking about the member experience and how we have a better experience across all of our channels. Then we're also looking from a payments perspective. We've really been focused over the last year and a half to have a roadmap to stabilize our payments ecosystem. So we've gone through and been able to connect to instant payments over this past year for both send and receive. And so for next year, we're going to be looking at expanding that relationship as well as really improving our loan payment processing and how do we make that a better member experience. So always trying to think of the member when we're putting these new processes in place.
Interesting. I mean, obviously, reimagining the way how call centers are or contact centers are existing now, that is changing because of that omni-channel experience or the similar experience that a consumer wants across all channels, be it contact center, be it retail, be it digital. So definitely with the advent of AI, even before me calling a contact center should know why am I calling you, right? Basically, your next best action is already what the agent should know. So I'm very sure you'll walk that journey since you've set up a analytics team before when the world did not know about analytics in the credit union ecosystem. I think you'll do an amazing job out there. I mean, wishing you all the best.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We're really excited to improve that experience.
Absolutely. My next question is, how are you improving operational consistency across multiple channels? Because I know you don't own digital, but still digital branch, contact center, these are very different channels. How do you ensure that the experience is consistent across all channels?
Yes. Yeah, even though I don't own the other two channels, we do really see the value and importance of having consistency across all three. So a couple of things that we try to do is we're very big on collaboration, ensuring that the leaders from each of those areas are communicating consistently, thinking about decisions that we're making across the board, understanding, the end-to-end changes that we would make, how that would affect one experience from another. One of the things we're actually doing right now, and that my team is a part of it, is improving our account opening experience. So today the experience is not the best. It's different if you call in versus go into a branch versus try to go online. It's not the same. It's not consistent across the board, and we're trying to make that a much better experience, and that's going to be a top priority for the organization in the first quarter. And that'll really help the experience not only for current members who'll be able to open additional types of products with us, but also attracting new members. It's going to be a big one for us.
Yeah, I mean, attracting new members is really important because that's where the secret sauce right now is that how do you attract new members at an efficient cost per acquisition? Because again, you're not competing with the next credit union down the road, but you're competing with a Chase or you're competing with a Chime.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so it's getting fierce now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, talking about stability and innovation, right? I mean, obviously, operations is something which needs to be very stable because it's a backbone or bread and butter of any institution. Unless you have your operations streamlined, you crumble down like a house of cards. So, how do
Mm-hmm.
you balance operational stability with the need to innovate? Like, I mean, the example you took right now, you want to get in a new contact center platform, right? So how do you balance between a legacy platform? I'm not naming those guys because if I tell them legacy, they'll hate me. A legacy platform versus a new AI driven platform like I can talk about Entropy. Entropy is a friend of mine, like an Entropy, right? So how do you balance the operational stability and need to innovate?
Sure. So a couple of ways that we like to do that is one, really understanding our processes today, and then finding areas where we can do test and learn or proof of concept. So starting out small with very specific use cases, I think helps us with the innovation side without, you know, making the current processes completely fall apart and then we're not able to service our members any longer. So that's a big piece of it. The other piece is really just understanding what's out there in the world. What are other things that we can look at? How could we apply that to our current processes? How could we understand what the members really need and then start small? So don't just try to rip off the band-aid necessarily. Really try to to do it in stages so that you are maybe not as fast right up front, but then you're much more successful when you're able to move through and complete those projects, innovation pieces.
I think that's the way forward, right? You cannot just do a end-to-end transformation. You have to go do a crawl, walk, run journey.
Yeah.
Do a small POC and see if it works out, and then scale it at an enterprise level.
Hmm.
That's the way how it works. Now, getting back to Emily, I mean, we did a lot of work, right? We talked about a lot of work and priorities. Let's talk about you now. So, Emily, let's talk about maybe challenges, right? I mean, you had a long, illustrious career. So, what are challenges that you have faced in your career throughout, and how do you deal with challenges? How do you tackle with challenges?
Sure, sure. So, yes, I've been here long enough to have several challenges and learn how to overcome those. So, one of the big things was when I was in marketing, I went to grad school and I did my master's, I did my MBA, and I really liked finance, and that's how I got into the finance and analytics realm, and was really interested in becoming a CFO. Wanted to be our CFO. I thought that would be a really exciting an influential position because I like to be able to have influence and really help provide that kind of yes, provide that kind of guidance for our organization. And when it came time for our CFO to retire, the company determined that I was not the choice to be CFO, and that was that was a big challenge, right? Because I had spent so much time really focused on what do I do to be CFO. It hurt. It was honestly it was painful to start with. I was, upset and, I had a couple options. I could leave, find a way to be a CFO somewhere else, or I could stick around and remake myself and find some other opportunities. And I was very fortunate that I had several other opportunities that came about. Specifically, I was able to get into the digital area. That's when I was able to pick that up and be a part of the transition to our current online banking platform. And it really gave me the opportunity to still stay with my analytics background. I also was able to do a lot of problem solving, which I really enjoy. And I was able to learn new things. So we're a big Gallup strengths organization, and learning's in my top 5 strengths. So having that ability to learn was really important to me, and that's what really made me stick around to grow. I enjoy working here, and it was hard. It was hard to get over. I mean, we all have those things, but you go back, you figure out, you kind of take a blank sheet of paper and sort of say,
Yep.
hey, what are my interests? What do I want to do? I hired a coach too to help me through it, and she really helped me work through it. And look at me today. Now I have a whole different opportunity that is both challenging and fun. And I think I have a lot of job security with work here when it comes to improving experiences. So I enjoy that.
So two aspects. One is I love this concept that you went back to the whiteboard and again found a role that you wanted to do. So I'm a huge fan of Steve Jobs. Wish he would have been around. So he always talked about that work comprises of 70 to 80% of your daily life or of your life, right? Unless you're happy doing that, unless you decide that this is what I want to do, never settle. So that's amazing, right? I mean, you never settle down, and that makes, I mean, not exactly like this, but very similar to me. And I got delayed promotions. I changed roles 5 times in a row almost in the last 7 8 years. But am I sad? No, I'm not. Definitely not. Because what I've learned in the last couple of years, this is for life, right? This is
Hmm.
for, I mean, like for example, building this podcast, right? Independently without any help, bootstrapping an organization from scratch with zero funding and building 200 episodes. I mean, similar to your experience, you went to whiteboard and you decided what you want to do. So I did
Hmm.
the same thing. I really respect a lot, Emily, and I have a lot of respect for people like you who really tend to go to the whiteboard, pull up your socks again, and decide, yes, let's do it again and let's find something that I love doing, right? Rather than continuing whatever was there. So
Hmm.
a lot of respect for that, right? A follow up to that question, maybe do you want to share some learnings, Emily? Because this podcast is widely, viewed by also aspiring leaders, not just leaders, right? And they would want to have pieces of advice from leaders like you. Do you want to share some pieces of advice for aspiring women leaders or aspiring leaders in general, right? In the early years, which you think helped you or might have helped you if you have done things differently?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things that I to mentor local college students here. And one of the pieces of advice I give them, because a lot of times they'll come to me and they're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I'm getting a marketing degree, but what do I really want to do? And I encourage them to get internships or jobs or even volunteer opportunities to do different types of marketing and really see what you're passionate about. And sometimes you're going to do one of those things and you're going to hate it, and I think
Sure.
that's okay because you're learning from that. And then hey, I don't like this. I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to do something else over here. I like this better. So I think taking opportunities is a big one.
Sure.
If you're, if you are an aspiring leader and you're looking like maybe there's volunteer work you can do at another organization, or maybe there's opportunities within your organization that you can step up and lead a project or be part of a project that's outside of your current realm, and that helps expand your mind. And then it also gives you the chance to learn. Always take the opportunity to learn. Always take the opportunity to reflect on what you've learned. I don't always take that advice well because I am an achiever, so typically I like to get things done and move on. But
Sure.
stop, reflect. Yes, this is what I really liked. Here's where I could have done better, and then you move forward from there.
Sounds good. Emily, in the interest of time, one last parting question, right? So where do you think is the credit union industry or the movement is heading towards, maybe in the next couple of years or 5 years? Where do you think we're heading towards?
Yeah, so I think that the biggest thing that's going to change us, and this is probably very cliche, is generative AI and getting into AI and understanding how to reimagine our current roles and help our team members to be able to see the future and build upon those skill sets and let like the AI be able to manage some of those more manual tasks that aren't needed for, people to be involved with anymore. There'll always be people involved, but let's evolve around that. So I think that's going to be a big one. I do think there's going to be some more consolidation, but I think that we can continue to work together as an industry and remember that we're here to help people. And how do we continue to move forward with that? It's going to be a big one.
I'm very glad that you set up an analytics team earlier, which means you actually understand analytics and data, and then you're moving towards AI because half of the people I talk to, I'm very sorry to say, I mean, we don't understand basic analytics and we talk about doing AI, right? That's like a moonshot that people talk about without fixing basics. There's no data governance in the house, but we talk about AI. So this is just not talking to both the sides. But Emily, this was great, and I really appreciate this time with you. What you've shared with us is a treasure. And thank you again, ma'am. Thank you for doing this with us. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.